If you want to set yourself up as a successful real estate agent in 2023, you will want to watch this video till the end. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So what I did was watch every top producer and coach's planning guide for 2023 and put all of their tips into this video for you. I listened to Ricky Carruth, Brandon Mulrennan, Mike Sherrard, Connor Steinbrook, plus the top 10 producers in the nation at my brokerage, my coach, my sponsor, my mentor, and talk to more people to bring you this video, all consolidated to less than 15 minutes of your time so you can have your best year ever. Hey, what's up? I'm Mike Kramer with eXp Realty. I help new agents launch their business and top agents get an exit strategy and build residual income without dealing with tenants, termites, or toilets. So although all the different real estate coaches vary a little bit in their style and wording, they share a lot of recommendations in common, such as affirmations that he shares to keep a positive mindset and focus on yourself rather than comparing yourself to others, such as real estate is a win-win, closings happen every day forever regardless of market conditions, outwork every agent in your market every day, put relationships over transactions every time. These are a lot of these sentiments are things that I've heard from other coaches and my mentor and other people as well. So a big one that's shared amongst them all is to identify your why and to have a strong why. It'll keep you going through all the rough times and keep you going through the daily monotony. It's going to seem like when you're doing these boring kind of painful activities, those are the things that are going to actually lead you to be successful. And that's really the key. That's the only secret. There's no magic formula or software or technique. It's just find a technique that works for you and stick with it every single day. Identify your why, your short-term goals, and your long-term goals. Another is to make a spreadsheet with your financial target for the year and work backwards to know what that means for daily and weekly activities. And you want to focus on the activities, not on the results. In fact, they all say in various ways to detach yourself emotionally from the results completely and to just focus on the activities that you know will lead to the results eventually. We're going to go over that spreadsheet in just a minute. They're pretty simple calculations, real straightforward numbers, but if you haven't seen it before, I'm going to go through it with you and just create it on the fly here so you can recreate it on your own. Reach out to me if you'd rather just get a copy of mine. I can share it with you somehow. Just let me know in the comments. You should be able to recreate it pretty quick with just a screenshot of mine. It's, 10 rows or so, and I'll show you the calculations. They're very straightforward. Have a daily checklist and a weekly checklist, right? There should be things you're doing every single day and then a few things that you're going to want to batch, but make sure that you complete each week. You want to time block your day and stick to it. I talked about that in my last video, how important planning is and organization, but then also that commitment, staying focused on your task, committing to your schedule. They mentioned creating a sense of urgency, which I found interesting. I wasn't probably doing that myself. So it's to end every day at let's say 5 p.m. or whatever it is for you as a full-time real estate agent, let's say, and you have a time limit. And the point is, like Ricky says, you don't want to work till 10 p.m. or you'll procrastinate everything up until 9 p.m. and then work on it that last hour. So if you give yourself some urgency, a sense of urgency, you're going to work a lot faster and harder and more focused throughout the day, especially when your energy levels are higher anyway. If you have showings or other things at 5 p.m., that's fine. Just don't do the kind of boring administrative work after 5. Have all that done beforehand. If you're doing showings every day at 5, that's fine. You're going to want to learn and master your market. So many people want to go big and say, I'll serve anything. They're desperate for a listing or to get a buyer. So they're like, I cover the entire state or, the entire county or the entire region or whatever, right? But so many coaches out there, such as Tom Ferry, talk about being hyper-local. And there's one lady I know on his show, for example, was doing $800,000 in GCI, just focusing on a community of about 1,200 homes. But she did about 50% of the homes there. She had 50% of the market share for listings. So when you become that good at that one area, it can pay off and you know more about it and you're going to be the go-to person for that community. So it's really not such a bad idea. And it's a lot better and easier on your car mileage and on your schedule to work on a focused area so you're not running all over the place. Doesn't mean you're going to turn down anything else, but if you become an expert in that one area, you're going to naturally gain clients for anywhere around that general area, especially as those people may sell from that area and want to buy somewhere else, or they're selling from a different area and want to buy in that area. You're going to be working with various areas in your state anyhow. So you want to learn and master your market and what that means. Like the top agents don't have time for this, guys. So this is a key advantage you can have as a new agent that has more time. You can go into your MLS every day and run the hot sheet. You should be able to find it somewhere under the search or general search. And it's literally just called hot sheet. And you go there and run it for the past 24 hours or past day, or since you last ran it, once you get in the habit of running this every day. And the area you want to search for, it's going to ask you what areas, and you'll learn the numbers. I recommend if they use 3-digit codes like mine does, that you write down the codes that you want to be an expert in, right? You'll learn by just going through it. And you could say, look at the table. It should show you a table of all the areas and their 3-digit codes, if it works like how mine works. And you're going to want to pick an area that's big enough and small enough, I should say, to have at least 3 a day that are in there, but preferably like 10 to 20, I'd say. Much more than that's kind of hard to track and take care of, right? So if you're in a large metro area, you're going to want to kind of narrow that down so you're just focusing on about 10 listings a day until you get the hang of it. You want to get at least 3, if you're in a more rural area, expand it so that you have at least 3 a day, maybe 5 a day. That show up in this hot sheet. And that could be closed, open, new listings, whatever. But you need data, right, to learn stuff. But if it's too much data, you're going to be overwhelmed. So you really don't want more than 10 to 20 until you get the hang of this, right? And then you can expand it a little if you like. But you want to the point is to be an expert in an area, right? Maybe that's hyper local, maybe not. Depends on how dense your populated area is that you're targeting. So it's okay to zoom in an area to become an expert, but just have at least 3 a day so that you can learn. And what you want to do is investigate any properties that jump out at you, or you can look at every single one if you don't have that many, if you're going hyper local, and look at the price, appearance of the property, the pictures, area on the map, if they're concentrated in a certain area, days on market, who the listing agent is. If it's sold, look at the sale price versus the original listing price, things like that. Was it up or down? What I've noticed, at least in my market lately, is that when you see a longer days on market, it almost always had a sale price that sold for a few percentage points less than the original listing price. Whereas things that sold very quickly, it actually went for higher percentage than the list price. So it kind of supports that saying out there that there is no such thing as pricing a home too low, because people will bid it up. You'll get more eyeballs on it. It'll get bid up more to at least what its value should be, and usually even higher. But the worst thing you do is overprice it, get less eyeballs on it, less activity. It sits longer, which now has a snowball effect, and that's a very bad thing. You'll see days on market much higher than everything else, and it'll end up selling for less anyhow. And you want to get a feel for that area that you're looking at. It should be the same area every day. What the frequency is, how many are listed per day, per week, how many are sold per day, per week. There's an area that I focus on. It's about a subdivision of 700 homes roughly, and there's only 2 sales per month. So it's very hard to get in that area. So I'm always looking in there. But you want to expand that out, right? Because you want more than that. You want to gain, even if you're going for the 50% market share, you're going to want something with, 10 a month that are selling. So that's why we're looking at expanding this daily activity to at least, 5 to 10, I'd say, on that hot sheet every day. Didn't want to dive too much into that. I could do a whole nother video on that. We're going to go over it in the MLS, and I could show you what I'm talking about. So let's move on. Another tip was what gets measured gets managed. So that means you're not going to be able to manage and improve certain things unless you're measuring them. So make sure that you're measuring these metrics, whether it's your leads, your conversion rates, these homes selling, whatever it is, you need to measure it so you can manage it. And then another tip was to give away as much as possible for free. I try to do that on my channel here. So wherever you're trying to get leads, whether you're out on foot, right, going door to door, or you're doing mailings, or you're sharing on social media, or you're doing paid ads, or you're doing YouTube like this, you want to share as much as you can for free. Knowledge, tips, whatever, right? So those people win. That's what we've been seeing in the past year, is that whoever is sharing the most and giving away the most value up front is winning. People are joining their teams for agent attraction. Their YouTube channels are going up. Their subscriber count's going up because they're giving away the most value up front for free. So lead with value and over deliver. And if you have a fear you're giving too much away, right? Like I had a video I was doing, I go, ooh, I should probably put that behind a funnel so that you have to put in your email to get the info. Well, that's a sign that you should give it away for free for sure, without the lead magnet or anything, and give away even more, right? And then if they sign up, if you want to start your funnel, but you need that traction, you need that momentum. Information really isn't as valuable or scarce, I should say, as it used to be. It's more of a common commodity. Information is everywhere. We're in the information age with the internet and everything. We have been for many, many years. But people have all the information accessible at their fingertips, and there are so many that are not successful. You got to ask, why is that? It's because they don't have a plan. They don't have the information filtered in an actionable way where they can take that information and use it to their advantage. People don't have accountability. They have all this information, and they also don't value the information they have, especially if it's free. So it's kind of a catch-22 there. Again, one of the previous tips, just worded a little differently, I think I may have already said this, was to not get emotionally attached to the outcome of any activity. Just focus on the activity and detach yourself from the outcome. And finally, taking on too much never works out. So I thought that was a very succinct way to say that. And I always call it, you're building too many bridges to Millionaire Island. If you want to get to Millionaire Island, focus on one bridge and finish it. But another way to word it is taking on too much never works out. Let's get to that spreadsheet. And I got a bonus tip coming up for you in just a second. We're going to wrap this up. So I promise this would be quick. Let's share the screen here. Let's go. New background, new year, new background, right? Happy New Year to you. It's really just the reason I do this. People ask, like, why do you have a cheesy green screen or whatever? Well, for one, my office is pretty boring right now. Maybe I can make it more exciting. I'll show you someday. I do videos for bass guitar, and the bass guitar stuff is behind my green screen. So I don't really want to show that off in my real estate videos, although I guess it wouldn't really matter if I did. But the number one reason I have the green screen and have the cheesy backgrounds is because I like to do this. Boom. Where the green screen, I have no background here. So, you can still see I have these edges, right? I'm still in a box. Like if I was a mime, I could do that mime. Do the mime thing one more time. Gaming channels, you see this a lot. So annual profit goal. So let's put that in. This is a very simple spreadsheet. You can see there's 11 rows here. I'll go over the formulas with you. I formatted these ones as dollar amounts. You'll see them in a second. So let's say your annual profit goal, I don't want to use $1 million. So let's say it's 100,000, right? You want to profit 100,000. That's a common one for a lot of people. I say go bigger, but it really depends on if you're part-time, if you're full-time, that sort of thing. Expenses, really hard to estimate if you're new. A lot of people use 20%. We could do that for today's purpose. We'll just use 20%. So your gross income is going to be now just these two added together. So we'll just say equals this plus this. I'm just clicking on them. Real easy if you don't know Excel. Google Sheets works pretty similarly, I think. So I just happen to be old school and have used Excel forever. So average commission for your area, there is no like standard rate, but whether you're buyer's side or seller's side, you're often splitting it with the buyer's agent, right? So I use 2.5% because it kind of lets me underestimate that, and so that I can overestimate how much effort I have to do intentionally, right? So a lot of people, you have 6%, some have even 7%, a lot of people have 5%, I've even seen less, but you're splitting it in half with buyer side and listing side. Even if it's 6%, a lot of times the seller or listing side takes 3.5% and the buyer side takes 2.5%, just because the listing agent has so many more expenses with marketing and that sort of thing. I like to use 2.5%, use what's appropriate for you, your business, and your market. That I just formatted as a percentage. You can just right click on a cell, go to format. This is if you're using Excel. And I just pick percentage, 1 decimal point, and hit OK. And target production. So what that means is this is how much dollar volume, right, you're going to have to sell in houses. And it's really your gross income divided by this number. So we're going to say equals, it's a formula, equals your gross income, just click on that, divided by your average commission. And boom, you get this huge number. We don't need the decimal there. I don't know why that's there. You could always right click and format. Just say no decimals. I like to have the little dollar symbol. And you got $4.8 million, right? So then you want to put in the average sale price for your area, and sale price is better than listing price because of course that's what your commission is going to be based off of, is the sale price. So you could again look from your hot sheet of the area you're targeting and you'll start to see the common sales for your area. You could also do historic searches in the MLS to see what things sold for. Let's just say it's $400,000. I don't know. And the number of homes to sell is just going to be your target production number divided by the average sale price. So we're going to say equals target production divided by the average sale price. Hit enter, and we got 12 homes we got to sell. Now we probably should put a decimal on that Because what if it's 12.9? I think it rounds up, but I would like to see that. So let's right click, hit format. It's up to you. If you want to do that, you could say number, 1 decimal, hit OK. 12.0, right on the money there, which we know 4 into 48 divided is 12, but just to give you the tips on Excel if you're not familiar with it. And then how many homes per month does that mean? I like to divide by 8. You could divide by 12 because there's 12 months in a year, but 4 of those months I think are pretty slow. So what I like to do is divide it by 8, and that way I'm underestimating how many months, right? So that I'm overestimating the work I got to do. But if you want to divide by 12, that's fine. But I like to divide by 8. So we're going to, either way, right? You take the number of homes to sell and divide that by either 8, if you're crazy like me, or 12 to get your true months per year. To me, they're not equally distributed, right? So you'll sell a lot more homes in the hot months than you will in the winter months. So that's why I divide by 8. And if I'm over, hey, great. If I sell 1.5 homes per month for 12 months, that's awesome. Then I'm over my goals. But these are about your goals, and you want to at least reach your goals and hopefully exceed them. So that's kind of the point behind this. Now, I've heard various stats, and it's going to depend on how good you are at calling and making appointments and getting leads and what the quality of your data is, and door knocking versus calls and that sort of thing. But a lot of cold callers will say roughly 160 contacts are needed to get one listing. So whatever that number is, you can put in here, or you could use mine. And what that means is if you want this many listings or sales, we'll call them, you got to multiply that by how many contacts you need to make. And that's how many contacts per month you're going to need to make. So equals how many sales per month you want to do times how many contacts are required to get each sale, if that makes sense. So it's 240 contacts per month you have to make. And if you're going to be calling 5 days a week, that's roughly 22 days per month that you'll be able to call, because there's 4.33 weeks per month. Multiplied by 5 days a week is 22 days roughly. So we're going to say contacts per month is that, right? So we're going to say equals this, divide it by 22 days in a month, work days that is. Some people call 6 days a week. The reason I don't use 6 is, again, I want to overestimate how many calls I got to make or contacts I got to hit per day. But I also don't like to plan on working 6 days a week. I'd like to plan on working 5, and at least for the calling, the prospecting. And then my Sundays, I like to relax if possible. And then Saturdays, if you're doing showings, open houses, whatever, it keeps it open for that. So you can see what happened with the decimal here. I don't like that. So I'm going to right click it, hit format cells, and change that to, like 1 decimal point or something. All right, so contacts per day, 10.9. You could call that 11. This might actually be a better one to just not have a decimal point. So go to format cells number, go to 0 decimals. It should round up. The only thing is it rounds down as well. So you want to make 11 contacts per day for these numbers to work. Hopefully that was pretty straightforward. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about that. One thing I want to make clear about these contacts per day, right, is that is truly contacts, not calls. So you don't want to count people that don't answer, voicemails, wrong numbers, all that sort of thing, right? These are actual contacts that you're making per day. And it's okay if the person says, I'm not interested, go away, whatever. You made a contact though, you talked to a person, right? And you can get better. The reason you want to count that and track it is because your conversion rate, how many of these are turning leads. If it takes you 300 contacts to get a listing, you probably got to work on how you talk to people and things like that. So by tracking all these numbers, remember what gets measured gets managed. So you want to measure this and track all these numbers for yourself so you know exactly what you need to improve on. The bonus tip I promise for you guys before this gets too long is the one additional thing that every guru and coach has stated is necessary to be successful is, can you guess it? Pause the video, throw it in the comments. It's one word, starts with a P. It's persistence. So stop jumping from one method to another. They can all work, whether you're a door knocker, cold caller, social media, paid ads, whatever, they could all work, but you need to find one that you like and stick with it, and you get good results with it. And you won't get perfect results at first, but if you can see yourself being consistent with it and you like it, you're going to be more likely to be consistent and persistent, and you'll get good results. Again, detach yourself from the results, but you need to be consistent with that method. You might be asking, what if you're like me and you're just not sure and you wanted to try them all? That's fine, no problem. But the expert recommendation is to do each one every day for, a lot of people say 2 months, but I'd say do at least 5 or 6 days a week for 2 weeks minimum. Now, you're not going to get results that way, but here's what I'm getting at is that's not to get a lead. That's to see if you like it or absolutely hate it. A lot of these things are going to suck. Like, they're not fun at all. So it's probably, instead of maybe saying the one you like, I should say the one you hate the least. And if you can't keep that up and you keep finding excuses of why you can't do that activity, it's probably not the best technique for you to use. Then you know the method that you'll focus on. Do that every single day for 3 to 6 months minimum, but remember to focus on the activity and not the results. And you should start getting results, but you have to be persistent and consistent for a long time. And after 3 months, I'd say if you have 0 results from that one method you focused on, if you're being honest and you truly gave it your all, don't give up. Just figure out how to improve on that method. All right, if this helps you out, please drop a comment and let me know. I'm Kramer the Realtor. This is Real Estate Success. Let me know what you want to see next. And remember, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Go out there and make your dreams come true. See you next time. Oh, and Happy New Year. Let's get it.